A little bit of paradise. We've been here since 1993, going for our 20th year. Dad and I started the farm. We actually bought the farm and still here today, loving it. We actually grow our shell out in hatcheries, so you just go get 10 shell from the wild, bring them in, we breed them, and we throw all the babies into a tank where they swim around for about 16 to 20 days, and then they want to hold on to something, so you chuck a bit of furry rope in, they grab hold of that, give them 10 days to hold on, and then we put them back in the water.
And that all happens here on the pontoon?
All on board the pontoon. It's an on-water hatchery. The pontoon's 160 tonnes, and when we run full hatcheries, we actually run 36 tonne of water on the deck, and we can grow out 18 million shell at a time. A good female can hold 100 million eggs. Survival rate in the wild's about 1 in every 200 million, and with the hatcheries, all we're doing is protecting them from the predators in the wild in the early stages, because they're 30 micron when they're born. And we can keep a survival rate of about 10 million to every 100 million from the hatcheries. Basically, this is the mother base and the pontoon, and then the shell. You can see all the long lines running down the coastline. So that's where all the shell are, so we've got a good view from all of them. And maintaining, the pontoon is very big. It's 24 metres long, 18 metres wide, 2 stories high, as you can see. Quite a big complex on the ocean. So everything, you've got your big boats over here which go out and collect the shell and bring them back into the farm, and then they go back out. We try and do as little work, especially in days like this where it's windy. You don't want to be out there on the lines, you want to be in the protection of the pontoon to work.
And so what are some of the challenges of farming pearls?
Everything. Everything's always against you. Nature, cyclones, they're the evil we must have, because they actually keep the waters healthy. So we actually do want a cyclone every 7 years to keep the waters extremely healthy in the bay, because otherwise the bay deoxygenates and dies. So as much as we get belted by them, we want a big storm occasionally.
And so what happens under the water, and how long does it take for some of these pearls to reach maturity?
Well, we've got to grow the shell for 3 years in the water from the hatchery, because they go in the water at 0.3 of a millimetre, so they've got a long way to go before we get to them. It's a pretty intensive cleaning program, segregating. As you imagine, a 0.3 mil shell doesn't take up much room, but when he's 100 mil, they take up a lot of room. So you're constantly spreading them out for that time. And then you bring them in at 3 years of age, sometimes up to 4 years of age, and then we seed them, depending on if we're seeding round pearls or our Gemini pearls, is how long it then is to... the Geminis are usually 14 months, and the rounds are 2 years. Generally, most of them made up in jewellery. To get a really nice one, you're looking $300 to $1,000 for a beautiful piece of jewellery. Shark Bay Pearl, and of course we've made them up into the tens of thousands as well, but those markets aren't there anymore, we find, so we really try and get our product out between the $300 and $500 mark.
And what's the difference, just looking at the pearls?
Okay, well, the round pearl is a traditional round one that everyone knows about. The Gemini pearl is something that's we've spent 6 years playing with, where we actually seed other gemstones from Australia, so Australian opal and Australian gold nugget, and we use that as the implant into the shell. And 14 months the gemstone gets covered by pearl in the ocean, and we harvest the soil pearl, and then we sit there with acid and we actually etch the pearl back, so it looks like the 2 gemstones were amalgamated and formed as one. So a completely different new product. You've got to be a little bit different in this day and age with the climate, so and it's done us really well in Australia.
How difficult is that of a process?
It's been a long, difficult process to get them to work. There was a lot of little hidden areas. There's minerals in those gemstones that are quite toxic to shellfish. Like in natural nugget, you have a copper base, and the shell does not like going over the nugget because of the copper. And the other interesting one was red opal. There is a mineral in red opal that is highly toxic to the shells, and the pearl will not go anywhere near a red opal. So even in the 6 years of playing around, we've only successfully done 250 gold nuggets. And red opal, we've done about 20 good ones only. But then your other coloured gemstones, your greens and blues, they're the ones that we've got quite successful, and they look really good because it mimics the ocean with the pearl.
In terms of your success rate then, what sort of risks do you run taking the gemstones down under the water?
We lose 6% every year to turtles. turtles eat our pearl shell. Basically, every panel is a floating dinner plate to them, and they come bite our shell and take our little opals and nuggets with them. So unless we can develop some type of pooper scooper system for them.
There's some expensive turtles swimming out there.
There is little buggers, but that's nature. We actually do need nature to take a percentage of your farm every year, because if a shell gets sick and it doesn't get eaten by a fish or a turtle or anything, that then creates disease and it spreads. So as much as they cost us a little bit in losses of pearls, it is a natural balance for the farm to maintain it.
Robbie Morgan from BlueLagoon Pearl Farms, just off Shark Bay, with us on ABC Local Radio. And how has the economic climate over in America and other markets affected your business?
A lot of pearl farms have gone broke in the last 6 years since the global downturn. Exports have dropped about 90% from Australia, making it very difficult. So we've had, with high Australian dollars still killing us, we need that to drop to even start looking going back. But with the lack of pearl farms now globally, we are looking at now doing expansions out to, in the next 7 years, we need a good economy, and you can grow. But we've shrunk our farms down. We only do 10,000 pearls a year here now. We used to operate at Dirk, Hardog, Herald Bite and Monkey Mire, and now we only operate at Monkey Mire, purely why we're going through these harder times. Australian market has been fabulous to us, but the economy here, but unfortunately we need more than Australia to keep the farms running. So yeah, tourism's been our main point, and also our survivor. Through these bad economical times, how to retail your pearls is a number one way of keeping survival, having those cash flows. Your profits from the industry are exporting. While there's no exports, we completely depend on tourism.
What are some of the tourists that are coming aboard and checking out the pearl farm and learning about the pearl shells? What are some of the things that they're surprised about to learn? Our biggest question is, why do we do it? But look where we live. We do live in absolute paradise. We came into this farm. Our family's been pearling since 1917. We're a broom family. And Dad and I came up here. Every other pearl farm, you are stuck at sea, you're stuck in a tropical island or in the middle of nowhere. Being family business, you just end up at work all the time. And the beauty of this farm is we're 20 minutes from home. And as Dad said, he said, we might not make it work here, but we're going to have the best life trying. And we are making world-class pearls here now, which is absolutely fabulous. Do you have pearls for blokes?
Yes, we do a more square Gemini for the blokes, which have been selling really well. And of course the blokes all do love the big black pearl around the neck as well. Got to look after the men like you look after the ladies.
Got these beautiful pearls in front of us. What about the pearl meat?
Yeah, that's beautiful. We've looked at marketing it. Australia never really took it up. So we basically give it away to most of the locals in town. And if there's ever any problems, the old pearl meat fixes it. We do have a lot of overseas markets for pearl meat in that side. For the amount of production, when you shrink your farm down like we do, to get export licences, you've got to do constant water testing and monitoring of the pearl meat basically every 2 weeks to prove there's no toxins in it. And so you're looking up to about $90,000 a year to do that. For when we're only doing 10,000 pearls a year, probably only looking at $100,000 a year turnover. So it's not warranted when you're small. When you go large again, then you can look at those type of markets. We're a technology-based farm. We've developed anti-foulings for the pearling industry, which accidentally turned into a product that we're now selling globally, which is called the water cleanser. Basically, we figured out how to turn hydrocarbons and make them into purifying water by encouraging natural oil-eating microbes to clean the environment. So that's now going to export stages. We're cleaning lakes. We're going into doing rivers now. The universities are now studying the product. It's looking at what we've discovered out here, which is quite fabulous.
And can other types of farms, pearl farms or agriculture industry, use that sort of technology?
Yes. Farms have been big, especially dams. We've got drought scenarios. We've got farmers down in Bremer Bay where they haven't had access to fresh water supplies because of droughts. They can now put the water from their dams straight into their sprayers and spray their properties. Where a lot of them use dam water in their households, and as one farmer said to us, it's great to see his toilet for the first time ever. And there's where you've got the waters have blue-green algae blooms and the cattle can't drink from it. our product basically gets rid of that within about 8 weeks, and of course your cattle can start drinking from that dam water again. So a lot of happy farmers out there.